In the bustling campus, there were two names everyone knew, even if they belonged to completely different worlds. Kim Tae-hyung from the engineering faculty, cold, untouchable, mysterious. He had that sharp, dangerous beauty that made people stare but never approach. His gaze alone could silence a room. No one dared to get close, not because they didn't want to, but because they simply couldn't. He was known as the handsome devil. And then John Jungkook, from the science faculty, warm, kind, soft spoken. He smiled at everyone, helped anyone, and somehow managed to top every exam without losing his gentle nature. But what truly set him apart was his beauty. Jungkook was pretty, not just handsome, pretty. His doughy eyes, soft lips, and delicate features made people do double takes. Some even mistook him for a girl from afar, but he never minded. He just laughed it off shyly. He was the angel of the campus. Two complete opposites, so when the truth came out, the entire college went into shock because John Jungkook was dating Kim Tae-hyung. Yes, that Kim Tae-hyung. At first, no one believed it. How can that be real? Jungkook with him? Does Taehyung even talk to people? But reality hit hard one random afternoon in the college canteen. The place was loud as usual. Students chatting, laughing, the clatter of plates filling the air. Jungkook sat at one of the tables, quietly sipping his drink, minding his own business. That's when a guy from another department walked up to him. He looked nervous. Jungkook, can I talk to you for a second? Jungkook blinked, a little surprised, but nodded politely. Yes? The guy scratched the back of his neck, clearly flustered. I I like you a lot actually. I have been wanting to say this for a while. Jungkook's eye widened. Oh, I'm really sorry. I. Before he could finish, a strong arm suddenly wrapped around his waist, pulling him back against a firm chest. The entire canteen went silent. Jungkook froze. He didn't even need to turn around. He already knew. Taehyung. His presence alone changed the atmosphere. Taehyung stood there, one arm possessively locked around Jungkook's waist, the other hand casually tucked into his pocket. His expression was calm, but his eyes were dangerous, cold, sharp, warning. He looked straight at the guy. And said in a low, steady voice, "He's mine." No shouting, no drama, just that. But it was enough. The guy immediately stepped back, face pale. Sorry, I didn't know. He didn't even finish his sentence before practically running away. The silence lingered for a moment, longer before whispers erupted all around. Wait, did he just say they are together? Oh my god, it's true. Jungkook's face turned bright red. Tai, he whispered, gently nudging him. Taehyung didn't let go. Instead, he tightened his hold slightly and leaned down, his lips brushing Jungkook's hair. I don't like people looking at you like that. Jungkook shivered. I was going to reject him. I know. Taehyung replied calmly, but I wanted to say it. Jungkook turned his head slightly, meeting Taehyung's gaze, and there it was, that possessiveness, that silent claim. Not loud, not toxic, but intense, deep, unmistakable. Jungkook's heart fluttered. From that day on, no one dared to confess to Jungkook again, because everyone knew the angel belonged to the devil. The lecture hall was silent except for the professor's voice echoing through the room. Kim Tae-hyung sat in his usual spot, back row, arms crossed, eyes focused but distant. He wasn't the type to take notes. He didn't need to. Just listening once was enough for him. Beside him, Namjoon leaned back in his chair, clearly bored. "Tae," he whispered, nudging him slightly. "The college fest is coming. You excited?" Taehyung didn't even look at him. "I'm not interested." Namjoon sighed, already expecting that answer. "I won't come," Taehyung added flatly. From the other side, Yoongi, who had been half asleep the entire time, spoke without even opening his eyes. "Jungkook is coming, by the way." There was a pause, a very small one, but noticeable. Taehyung inhaled slowly, then said, as if it was the most normal thing in the world, "I'm coming." Namjoon blinked. Yoongi smirked slightly, and Hoseok, sitting in front, turned around instantly, bursting into quiet laughter. "Wow, that was fast. Don't even take 5 seconds," he teased. Taehyung shot him a glare. Hoseok immediately raised his hands. Okay, I'm quiet." Taehyung clicked his tongue, annoyed, but he didn't take it back, because if Jungkook was going, he was going to. Simple. Meanwhile, in another building, Jungkook sat in his classroom, head slightly down, fingers nervously playing with the edge of his sleeve. In front of him, Jimin and Jin were practically glowing with excitement. "Cookie?" Jimin dragged his name in a sing-song voice, eyes sparkling. "You have to do it." Jungkook shook his head quickly. "No, I can't." Jin chuckled softly at his reaction. "It will be fun, Jungkook. Just try it once." Jungkook winced, shrinking into himself. But you both know how Tae is." He mumbled, cheeks slightly pink. He won't like it. And I don't want to either." He added shyly. "It's so embarrassing. I will look weird. I'm shy." Jimin gasped dramatically. "Weird? You? Jungkook, you literally look prettier than half the girls in this college." Jungkook's face turned red instantly. "Jimin, no." Jin laughed, then leaned closer, voice softer but persuasive. "And who said you have to tell Taehyung?" Jungkook blinked. "What?" Jimin leaned in too, eyes shining with mischief. "Yes, just don't tell him," he said excitedly. "You cosplay for the fest, enjoy it, and then it's over. No problem." Jungkook looked between them, completely conflicted. But I can't hide things from Tae," he said, pouting slightly. "He always finds out." Jin sighed, patting his shoulder. "Cookie, it's just one day, not a crime." Jimin nodded quickly. "Exactly, and we will be there with you the whole time." Jungkook hesitated, still unsure. "But your boyfriends aren't like mine," he mumbled, pouting more. Jimin raised an eyebrow. Excuse me? Jungkook huffed softly. Nam Junhee would love to see Jinhong in a feminine cosplay. And Yoongi also like it when you dress like that, Jiminho. He looked down again, voice quieter. But Tae, he swallowed. He's different. There was a brief silence. Jin and Jimin exchanged a look. They both knew Taehyung wasn't just protective, he was possessive. Not in a loud way, but in a deep, intense, territorial way, the kind that didn't like sharing, even with harmless attention. Jimin softened his tone. Cookie, do you want to try it? Jungkook paused. His finger tightened slightly around his sleeve. I have never done it before, he admitted softly. A small curious spark flickered in his eyes. And I kind of want to know how it feels. Jinny smiled gently. Then that's your answer. Jimin grinned. And we will make you the prettiest one there. Jungkook let out a tiny, nervous laugh. Still shy, still unsure, but we are not telling Tae, Jimin added firmly. Jungkook immediately panicked again. No, Jin cut him off. It's settled. Jimin clapped his hands. Operation Secret Princess Jungkook begins now. Jungkook covered his face, whining softly. I'm going to die. But deep inside, his heart was racing, not just from embarrassment, but from the thrill of doing something he knew Taehyung would definitely not like. That night, the apartment was quiet except for the soft sizzling sound from the kitchen. Taehyung's lips rolled up, was focused on cooking dinner. He had just finished his last assignment, and the faint hum of concentration lingered in the air. The smell of garlic and spices filled the room, making it feel warm and homely. Jungkook, he called softly from the kitchen, voice carrying just enough to reach upstairs. Koo, come down, dinner is ready. From the other room, a small voice replied, hesitant, I will eat later, Tae. I still have to finish my assignment. Taehyung's brow furrowed slightly. He wasn't used to being ignored, even gently. With a quiet grunt, he wiped his hands and headed upstairs. As he reached Jungkook's room, he found him buried in textbook and notes. Little pencil scratches scattered around the pages. Without hesitation, Taehyung scooped him up, careful but firm. Koo. Jungkook squeaked in surprise. Tae, what are you doing? My bunny will eat dinner on time, Taehyung said simply as he carried him toward the kitchen. Jungkook pouted but couldn't help letting out a soft giggle. You are impossible. By the time they reached the table, the small frustration melted away. They shared dinner together, talking quietly, laughing over small things that had happened during the day. Afterward, they cleaned the dishes side by side, Taehyung moving with quiet efficiency, Jungkook following along, hands brushing occasionally, smiles exchanged. Once the kitchen was tidy, they settled on the couch. Taehyung pulled Jungkook close, arms wrapping around him naturally, as if it had always been their favorite spot. Jungkook leaned into him, heart warm, letting himself relax. Suddenly, Taehyung's voice cut through the quiet. Bunny, are you going to the feast? Jungkook's hair turned slightly red at the nickname, and he felt his pulse quicken. He bit his lips, shyly nodding. Taehyung's eyes softened, and the smile curved his lip. He leaned down and pressed a gentle kiss to Jungkook's cheek. I will come too, he murmured. Jungkook's heart melted, and a small smile tugged at his wan lip. He snuggled closer, resting his head against Taehyung's chest, but underneath the warmth, a little flicker of guilt nagged at him. He had never lied or hidden anything from Taehyung before. They said everything, every thought, every feeling, but this was different. This time he would need to keep a secret because if Taehyung found out, he would never let Jungkook do it. And Jungkook for once wanted just a little bit of fun for himself. A secret tiny as it was, but thrilling. The day had passed in a blur of classes and anticipation. Finally, the much-awaited college fest had arrived. Jungkook sat nervously in a small room with Jimin and Jin. Both of them were already dressed in their cosplays, looking flawless and radiant. Jimin was winking at himself in the mirror, adjusting the details of his outfit, while Jin smoothed down his costume with a satisfied nod. "Wow, you two look amazing," Jungkook murmured, eyes wide. "Don't worry, Koo," Jimin said, grabbing his hands. "You are going to look even better." Jungkook's heart raced. He hadn't told Taehyung about this yet. Every moment the thought of Taehyung finding it out made him anxious. But there was no turning back now. "Hyung, I... Jungkook stammered, looking down as Jin helped adjust his dress. "Just trust us," Jin said with a small smile, and then Jungkook saw himself in the mirror. His breath coughed. He was wearing a cute short pastel dress, a light pink blush on his cheeks, glossy pink lips, and a long black wig that framed his face perfectly. The reflection staring back at him wasn't just cute, it was ethereal, fairy-like. Jimin squeaked dramatically, leaning closer. "Koo, you look so pretty, so innocent, so cute." Jin laughed softly, nodding. "You really pulled this off. Fairy Jungkook, I love it." Jungkook buried his face in his hands, feeling a hot blush spread across his cheeks. "Hyung, stop. You two are looking really, really pretty too." Finally ready, they stepped out of the room. Heads turned, whispers floated. Everyone couldn't stop admiring how incredible the trio looked. They started wandering through the stalls, laughter and music around them. The festival alive with energy. But then Jungkook froze. There, across the crowd, Taehyung. He was scanning the festival, eyes sharp, clearly looking for someone. "Tae?" Jungkook's voice was soft, squeaked. Panic surged through him. He tried to softly step away, hiding behind a stall, hoping Taehyung wouldn't notice. But it was too late. Taehyung's eye locked on him, and in a heartbeat, he was there, holding Jungkook firmly. Jungkook squeaked, heart hammering. "Bunny?" Taehyung murmured, his grip firm but not harsh. "Where do you think you are going?" Jimin and Jin froze, staring at the scene with wide eyes, silently trying not to laugh at how possessive Taehyung looked. Soon others arrived. Jaehoop, Namjoon, and Yoongi joined the group. Yoongi winked at Jimin, who immediately turned pink, while Namjoon leaned down and kissed Jin's cheek lightly. But Jungkook couldn't focus on anything else. He was about to explain, to apologize, when Taehyung, with an almost imperceptible smirk, took him gently by the hand. Not harshly, not angrily, just possessively, pulling him toward a quiet corner where no one else was around. Jungkook's heart raced. His secret, his adorable, innocent little cosplay, had just been discovered, and Taehyung's dark, possessive eyes were fixed on him, unreadable but intense. Jungkook swallowed hard. "Hyung, I can explain," he whispered, voice barely audible. Taehyung tilted his head, lips twitching with a smirk. "Explain, Bunny." Jungkook felt his cheeks burn hotter than ever. Jungkook's fingers trembled as he looked down, unable to meet Taehyung's eyes. Hyung, I was just cosplaying. His stuttered voice, small and shy. Taehyung didn't reply immediately. Instead, he stepped closer, too close. Jungkook instinctively took a step back, only for his back to hit the wall behind him. A soft gasp left his lips. Taehyung leaned in, one hand coming up beside Jungkook's head, trapping him in place. His presence was overwhelming, warm, firm, inescapable. So, Taehyung murmured, tilting his head slightly, eyes dark and fixed on him. Now you hide things from me too? Jungkook's eye widened instantly. No, Hongyi, no. He shook his head quickly, panicking, cheeks flushed, deep pink. Jiminy and Jinhoon told me I didn't want to lie. His word cut off because Taehyung moved closer again. This time his other hand gently cuffed Jungkook's wrist, lifting them above his head and pinning them there. Not rough, but firm enough to make Jungkook freeze. Jungkook swallowed, breath hitching. Tae? I don't like it. Taehyung whispered, his voice dropping lower, almost a growl. When others look at you, his gaze slowly trailed over Jungkook. The soft pink lips, the flushed cheeks, the short dress, revealing more than Taehyung was comfortable with. Jungkook shivered under that look. I saw the way people were staring. Taehyung continued, thumb brushing lightly along Jungkook's arm before trailing lower, slow and deliberate. Walking around looking like this? Jungkook's breath turned uneven. Hyungi, I was just... Taehyung didn't let him finish. He leaned in and kissed him. Deep, possessive. Jungkook let out a soft whine against his lips. Surprised, but he didn't pull away. Instead, he melted into it. Eyes fluttering shut, body relaxing despite the way his heart raced wildly. Taehyung kept his wrist pinned with one hand, holding him there while the other slowly moved, resting against Jungkook's thigh. Fingers brushing lightly over the exposed skin, not inappropriate, but enough to make Jungkook shiver. Sensitive, aware, his grip tightened slightly, grounding Jungkook in place as the kiss deepened for a moment before finally breaking. Jungkook was left breathless, lips parted, cheeks burning even more than before. Taehyung rested his forehead against his eyes, still intense, but softer now. You are too pretty, he murmured quietly. Jungkook's heart skipped. I don't like anyone else seeing like this, Taehyung admitted, thumb brushing over Jungkook's cheek, smudging a bit of blush. There was a pause, then softer. But I like it. Jungkook blinked, surprised, eyes wide. Really? Taehyung sighed as if giving in. Only for me. Jungkook's lip curved into a shy smile despite everything. Only for you. Taehyung finally let go of his wrist but didn't step away. Instead, he pulled Jungkook close, one arm wrapping around his waist, holding him securely. Next time, he muttered near his ear. You tell me first. Jungkook nodded quickly, burying his face into Taehyung's chest. Okay. And just like that, the tension melted into warmth again, but the possessiveness, it was still there, quite strong, unmistakable. Because no matter what Jungkook wore, to Taehyung he would always be his. By the time Taehyung and Jungkook walked back, it was obvious, very obvious. Jungkook stayed close to Taehyung, almost glued to his side, one hand gripping his sleeve while the other rested silently near his waist. which Taehyung had firmly wrapped his arm around. His wig was slightly messy, his lips a little swollen, cheeks still flushed, and Taehyung completely calm, too calm. Jimin raised an eyebrow the moment they approached. "Oh," he smirked, crossing his arms. "That was quick." Jungkook instantly hid his face in Taehyung's shoulder. "Hyung," he winked softly. Jin chuckled, clearly amused, while Namjoon just smiled knowingly. Yoongi glanced once and then looked away like he already understood everything. Hoseok, however, leaned in dramatically. "Jungkookie, your lipstick is smudged," he teased. Jungkook squeaked, trying to fix it quickly, face burning red. "Stop teasing him," Taehyung said, though his tone held no real warning, just quiet confidence as he pulled Jungkook a little closer. "Possessive much?" Jimin muttered under his breath. "Always," Taehyung replied without hesitation. Jungkook melted again. The rest of the festival passed in a blur. Taehyung left Jungkook's side. Anywhere Jungkook moved, Taehyung was there. Anyone who looked a little too long, Taehyung noticed. And Jungkook, he didn't even try to hide the way he leaned into him more now. Later that night, they finally returned home. Jungkook let out a small sigh of relief, slipping off his shoes. "I'm going to change," he mumbled shyly, already reaching for the edge of his wig. But before he could move, Taehyung cuffed his wrist. Jungkook blinked. Taehyung stepped closer, eyes dark but calm. "Dinner is not over yet." Jungkook's breath hitched instantly. "I'm tired." He winked softly, though his voice lacked any real resistance. Taehyung didn't argue. Instead, he simply lifted him. Jungkook let out a small surprised sound, instinctively wrapping his arms around Taehyung's neck. "Tae?" But Taehyung was already walking toward the bedroom, slow, certain, like he had already decided everything. He laid Jungkook down gently on the bed, leaning over him, one hand resting beside his head. Jungkook looked up at him, heart racing again, fingers clutching the bedsheet slightly. "You hungry?" he whispered. Taehyung's gaze softened, but only slightly. "You think I will just let it go?" he murmured. "You walking around like that, letting everyone see you?" Jungkook said. I didn't mean." "I know." Taehyung cut him off quietly. His hand came up, brushing Jungkook's hair, fixing the messy wig strand gently this time, but still. His fingers stretched down slowly from his cheek to his jaw, pausing there. "You look too pretty." Jungkook's eyes fluttered. "Tae," he whispered. Taehyung leaned down, resting his forehead against Jungkook's. "Only I should get to see you like that," he said softly, not harsh, not controlling, just deeply possessive. Jungkook's finger tightened slightly in his shirt. "Then don't let me go out like this again," he mumbled shyly. Taehyung smirked faintly at that. "Good answer." He leaned again, pressing a slow, lingering kiss to Jungkook's lip, this time softer but still full of claim. Jungkook melted into instantly. Outside the world had gone quiet, but inside that room, the night was far from over. The room was quiet. Only the soft sound of their breathing filled the space. As Taehyung hovered above Jungkook, their faces just inches apart. Jungkook's cheeks were still flushed, lips slightly parted, eyes shining under the dim light. "Tae?" he whispered softly. Taehyung didn't answer with words. Instead, he leaned down and kissed him again, this time slower, gentle, but deeper in a different way. Less urgency, more feeling. Jungkook melted instantly, his hand slowly moving up to hold him onto Taehyung's shoulder, pulling him just a little closer. Taehyung shifted slightly, careful, his hand resting at Jungkook's waist, fingers tracing soft patterns over the fabric of the dress, as if memorizing every detail. "You are really unfair, you know that?" Taehyung murmured against his lips. Jungkook blinked, dazed. "What? Looking like this?" Taehyung whispered, brushing his nose lightly against Jungkook's, "and expecting me to stay calm?" Jungkook let out a tiny sigh, laugh hiding his face in Taehyung's neck. "I was nervous the whole time," he admitted softly. "I thought you had get mad." Taehyung still for a moment, then his arms wrapped around Jungkook more securely, pulling him close against his chest. "I don't get mad at you," he said quietly. "I just don't like sharing." Jungkook's heart softened at that moment. "I'm yours anyway," he mumbled, voice small but sure. Taehyung smiled, rare, soft, real. "Yeah," he whispered. "You are." He pressed a gentle kiss to Jungkook's forehead this time, then into his cheeks, lingering there. The intensity from earlier slowly faded into something warmer, calmer. Taehyung carefully helped remove the wig, setting it aside, his fingers brushing through Jungkook's real hair gently. "Better?" he mumbled. Jungkook pouted slightly. "You didn't like it?" "I did," Taehyung admitted. "Too much." That made Jungkook blush again. They shifted under the blanket, Jungkook naturally curling into Taehyung's arm, head resting against his chest where he could hear his steady heartbeat. Taehyung wrapped the blanket around them both and one hand resting protectively on Jungkook's back, gently rubbing slow circles. "Tired?" he asked softly. Jungkook nodded, eyes already getting heavy. A little." There was a comfortable silence, then in a sleepy voice, "But I am happy." Taehyung's fingers paused for a second before continuing again, softer this time. "Me too." Jungkook snuggled closer, holding onto him lightly. "Good night, Tae. Good night, Bunny." And just like that, the possessive tension, the teasing, the secret, the chows of the day, all melted away into a quiet warmth. Two hearts wrapped together, safe, close, content, as sleep slowly took over. Taehyung's soul never lose, but because no matter what, Jungkook would always be his, and he would always be Jungkook's.